So I kind of want to do this, I guess, a little bit differently. Just think in your head what makes us different than other animals, and that could be any list. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time. Actually, what I would say is if you want to kind of pause this video, then go ahead and do that and make your list. Um, you don't necessarily need to share it with your neighbors. I just kind of wanted you to be able to discuss this. So if this is something that comes up in the free form discussion post. Maybe that's what I'll put it up as, is what makes us different from other animals. And then why did we develop the way that we did, and what are our adaptations good for? Again, I would pause this and maybe go to kind of the discussion forum to provide some of those interactions with people, and just kind of dive into this on your own to maybe dissect the difference in what makes us human. So the 6 steps to humanness is really something we are going to focus on. Again, hopefully you didn't kind of just go through this and you paused out. Some of the things that we talk about in this class extensively about are bipedalism, which happens about 6 million years ago. This makes us part of the hominin group, which is taxonomy. Non-honing chewing at 5.5 million years ago. So we don't have a diastema, which is space between our teeth so that our canines fit. Our teeth don't need to fit that way, so we can kind of just chomp down straight, and that's how we chew our food. That's non-honing chewing. Honing chewing is when you kind of have to move your mouth in different directions, so you then need space for different teeth. And we'll get into that a lot when we get into primates. Speech at 2.5 million years ago, so our Homo erectus and Homo habilis ancestors looks like they had speech. They have kind of every indication in terms of skull, brain capacity, and physiology in the neck, throat, those kinds of things. Material culture, Australopithecines actually develop rudimentary stone tools. And when I say rudimentary, I don't mean that in a bad way. They were functional, right? They would have used stone tools probably to dig up tubers, because most of them were vegetarian, vegan. They didn't eat meat products. And I should say vegan because they didn't have animal milk or anything like that either. So they would have dug up tubers. If they did, some of the Australopithecines do start eating some meat. I know Gari does. They would have started to use stone tools to maybe break open bone and get at the marrow. Hunting doesn't really happen until 1 million years ago. Homo erectus starts hunting because they start to crave red meat. And in fact, some theories have them spreading around Europe and Asia because they are hunters. And again, this is just a theory. We don't have a time machine, unfortunately. Domesticated foods at 11,000 years ago. This happened, by the way. Domesticated foods 11,000 years ago. This is a date that's kind of thrown in there as kind of the agricultural revolution. You should know that probably 20,000 years ago, if not a little bit later, people started doing horticulture or gardening. So domestication of food products, at least in terms of vegetables and fruits, was happening earlier than this date. This date is much more indicative of not only vegetable grains, but also animal domestication at this time. And this is kind of full-fledged, so different groups in different parts of the world. I know Anatolia Peninsula, Turkey, modern-day Turkey, had domestication fairly early on in terms of horticulture. So human origins, we will get into this a lot more. I just wanted to throw this out so that people could kind of get a handle on early relatives, hominid relatives. And again, we're going to get into this in a much more detailed way further on in the semester. I do recommend watching kind of supplemental videos. The people of Flores, the island of Flores in Indonesia, Floresiensis, is an amazing hominid group of people. They call it the Hobbit human. Very small, short, like 3 feet, but anatomically kind of correct. Throws a wrench in some of our evolutionary kind of data in terms of like our nice clean lines of development and morphology. So again, I would urge you all to kind of check out some of these videos as well. All right, that's it for this week's lecture. Again, this is the first week, so it's introductory. The getting down and kind of dirty and the genetic uh, hard science stuff will come next week as we dive into more of the history and Darwin and stuff like that.